Sarcasm must be a lost form of humor. I tried to make it really clear that I was being sarcastic when I said I was going to run for the U.S. Senate as a Republican. A bunch of people missed that. Sorry about that. We'll talk a little bit about that. Then we're going to talk with Maggie Winja from Ames about the internet sales tax issue. And then Peter Fisher with the Iowa Policy Project is going to join us to talk about who benefits from the various tax proposals at the Iowa State House. And we're going to talk about the big vote tomorrow in Warren County surrounding the issue of a new casino.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Ed Fallon here, folks. Gateway Market and Cafe is your locally owned source for specialty groceries. Enjoy chef-crafted, prepared foods, artisan baked goods, organic produce, specialty cheeses, and hand-selected wines and craft beer. Visit the lively cafe for breakfast, lunch, or dinner 7 days a week. Gateway Market is centrally located on the corner of Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway and Woodland Ave. Stop by or visit www.gatewaymarket.com for more details. That's Gateway Market, folks. Good food, great community.
I'm a burrito.
I'm a fighting burrito, full of fresh ingredients prepared before your very eyes.
I don't have eyes.
I have over 28 options and 268 million combinations, including Rizzo for vegetarians.
I can take my meat off and call myself vegetarian.
Put that back on. The Fighting Burrito is locally owned.
I'm owned by some big corporation somewhere. Say, you want to go on a date?
No thanks. I'm seeing a quesadilla.
The Fighting Burrito online, fightingburrito.com. Join the fight.
This is Dr. Holding, the Story County Veterinary Clinic. For 15 years, we have been spaying and neutering feral cat groups at affordable prices. Wild cats destroy game birds and songbirds. A single female cat can produce over 4,000 kittens in 7 years. The shelters are full, so unwanted kittens will be put to sleep. Your cats will stay home and stay healthy. Call us for all your dog and cat needs at the Story County Veterinary Clinic between Ames and Nevada on Highway 30, 1 mile east of Interstate 35, 515-232-8766.
Local farms, global flavor. That's the secret to Hawk's growing popularity. The best meals begin with the best ingredients, and 90% of Hawk's ingredients come from local farms. In addition to seasonal fruits and vegetables, Hawk features grass-fed beef and lamb, and pasture-raised chicken and duck, all raised without hormones, steroids, or cages. The coffee is fair trade, locally roasted, and Hawk's House liquors come from right here in Iowa. Hawk's owners go the extra mile, composting organic waste and recycling. For more information or to make reservations, visit hawktable.com. That's HOQ table.com.
With warm weather finally here, it's time to think about upgrading the efficiency of your furnace and air conditioner. Leonard Tinker Heating and Cooling has provided honest, competent service for over 20 years. Whether it's your home or business, for repair work or to install a more energy-efficient furnace or air conditioner, call Leonard Tinker at 263-0422. That's 263-0422. For honest, competent heating and cooling service, call Leonard Tinker at 263-0422.
The 8th Annual Natural Living Expo is May 18th and 19th at the 4-H building at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. The Natural Living Expo is the place to learn about sustainable practices and healthy lifestyle choices. The expo offers classes and vendors where you'll learn about green building design, sustainable agriculture, urban farming, non-toxic cleaning products, massage, and more. There's no cost to attend, and what you'll come away with is priceless. For more information, visit www.naturallivingexpo.org. That's www.naturallivingexpo.org.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Hey, folks, welcome to the Fallon Forum. We're kicking off our conversation here in downtown Des Moines. Beautiful day out there. I don't know why so many people are still in the Skywalk. Maggie, do they know we have nice weather, that the snow has ended? I don't get it. Anyway, we're going to talk about a lot of issues today. That often happens. Later in the program, we're going to talk about the casino vote. There's been a proposed casino for Warren County, and that has generated a lot of conversation and a lot of opposition. We're going to talk about that later in the program. Also, second segment of the show, Peter Fisher with the Iowa Policy Project will be joining us to talk about tax policy and how the various proposals at the State House affect who and whether they benefit you or who they benefit. And we're going to talk shortly with Maggie Winja, a local business person from Ames, about the internet sales tax issue. But I do want to just give you a little update and maybe a little clarity on the issue of the U.S. Senate race. Again, with so many people dropping out, King not going to run, Bill Northey not going to run, Kim Reynolds not going to run, Tom Latham not going to run. I mean, and the Republicans are down to, it's almost overstating it to call it the farm team. I mean, you got Bob Vanderplat's mentioned all the time, a guy named David Young, who I've never even heard of before. And then you've got Matt Whitaker, a judge. And none of these people have held any public office before that I know of. And so I made the joke in my email update this morning that I've actually got more elected status among Republicans than any of those three do, because when I went to a Republican caucus last year, that was a great experience, by the way. I got a resolution passed supporting gay marriage, probably the only precinct in the state of Iowa, a Republican precinct, where the precinct came out in support of marriage equality. So I was elected secretary of the caucus. They didn't have anybody who wanted to do it. So, hey, I ended up being the secretary. So I thought that was pretty solid environmental credentials, Republican credentials, compared to the other three. So my point is, we've got this is really a Senate seat, a U.S. Senate seat in Iowa does not open up very often, and Republicans can't find a candidate. I mean, I pointed out, with my limited credentials as a Republican, maybe I should run. Again, total tongue in cheek. I'm sorry that some people actually thought I was serious, but no, I'm not serious at all. My point is, Republicans don't have anybody to run, and maybe they'll find somebody. My second point is, Republicans really aren't the same on issues as they used to be. I mean, if you look at some of the stuff that myself and other progressive types support, it's pretty much in line with a lot of the things Republicans used to profess. My third point was, I like Bruce Braley. Even if I were to win a Republican primary, again, joke, I would vote for Bruce Braley. So anyway, I'm sorry if some of you either didn't read through the whole email or somehow did and then still were confused. But that's the story. Hey, I do want to take one quick call on the Senate race issue. There we go, and then welcome Maggie to the show. Wally from perhaps Cedar Rapids.
Yes.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I just wanted to comment on the Senate race and Bruce Braley. I've been a big Braley supporter. I'm in his district, but I was really concerned about a recent vote that he cast in favor of the Keystone XL pipeline, and I know that people have asked him about it, and his justification for the vote just doesn't wash.
I'm surprised about that. I was not aware of that. That does surprise me. That does disturb me.
He justified it by saying they would provide Iowans with $465 million in wages and benefits over the next 25 years. I can't see how a pipeline going through the Dakotas and Nebraska and Arkansas would benefit Iowans.
Did he cite a particular source on that?
No. And then he says, well, we already have 41,000 miles of pipeline in Iowa. Well, yes, but those are pipelines for standard natural gas and things like that. These tar sands from Canada are very corrosive. They're not like anything we've ever seen before. Right. And the recent leak and fire in Mayflower, Arkansas, from a tar sands pipeline coming down from the other direction from Canada, should give us a pause to wonder why we'd want another one. Yeah. Even bigger.
Well, and I want to look into this. I was not aware of that, Wally, until you mentioned it to me, and it bothers me a lot because I think the Keystone Pipeline is possibly the critical linchpin that we now face regarding the climate crisis.
And it doesn't even provide any oil or gasoline for the United States. It's going to the Gulf Coast
for export,
and it's going to be exported to other countries. In fact, the contracts are already in place to do that.
Well, let me. I've got to move on to another guest, Wally, but let me commit to you to try to get to the bottom of why Congressman Braley feels that there is any kind of economic value to Iowa's employment from a pipeline that, as you noted, travels 300 or 400 miles west of here. So it's a good question, and I'm sorry I did not know that, but it's a good point. So I don't imagine we'll find any Republican candidate that's going to do anything differently on the issue, but we should expect more from a progressive Democrat.
Yes, we should.
All right. Wally, thanks so much for the call.
Okay, thanks.
Let's welcome Maggie Winget to the program. Maggie is a small business owner in Ames. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me on the show.
Real quick, tell us about your business.
Well, I have a furniture store on Main Street in Ames, and I've been here for 21 years, brick and mortar store. However, we do a lot of internet sales, and since we've gone online in around 2000, our internet sales have just increased and increased, which has been good. It's been nice to keep us on Main Street with the internet sales.
Right. It's an important supplement for some people, but some more than others. I mean, some don't do a lot of sales on the internet. But you're saying what percentage of your sales are now at that level?
Around 90% of our sales are online.
Oh, really?
So quite a bit.
So how do you feel about the proposal on the internet sales tax?
I support paying the sales tax. However, the only concern I have is that how am I going to comply with filing state taxes in 50 states every month? It's just, if they could do something to make it easy for the merchants, like myself, the small merchants, but that do a lot of online sales, if they could make it just a one-time monthly deposit instead of 50 deposits, and then you have to go through all the different state tax laws and that kind of thing. So if they can figure out a way to do it where it won't be a burden.
Let me ask you, is there a way to do that? I mean, it's the internet has thrown all sorts of challenges, all sorts of curveballs that we've not been used to historically. Is there a way to simplify the process so you aren't having to file paperwork in 50 states?
I really don't know. I mean, they say that there will be software available, but that right now I do pay Iowa sales tax, and it requires you to go online and calculate your sales, and for each district, how much extra, that kind of thing. And that all takes time. And now I'm like, I've got to do this now for 50 states.
Yeah.
So, because every state wants the only solution I could see is to set a flat internet fee, have it go to one, source, and then they disperse it to all the states according to the population, that kind of thing. Even though it's not 100%, Jane buys from New York, and then well, but when they don't get as much.
When somebody buys from you, aren't they indicating where they're from?
Not always.
But couldn't you require that?
No, I mean, I know exactly where they're from. Sure.
Okay, so we could identify what how many transactions you have with residents of Nebraska, how many with Rhode Island, how many with Texas.
Right. Okay. And every month try to calculate that, and then go to each state to file the appropriate tax for that city that person lives in. All I'm saying is just make it uncomplicated, and I don't think anybody would really have an objection if there would be an easy way to calculate it, a once-a-month payment, that kind of thing. So
now, overall, though, you would agree with the argument that it's not fair to Main Street businesses, especially those that don't do a lot of internet sales. It's not fair that somebody can buy something online, pay no sales tax, buy it at their store, and pay a lot.
No, it's not fair. I mean, I can see the state, has lost a lot of revenue. All the states have because of this loophole. It's just there has to be an easier way to figure out how to tax. So,
and my bigger concern than the states losing revenue is the issue of your business losing revenue. Folks that you can't compete. I mean, in your case, it sounds like you've done well with the internet, and some people's businesses don't lend themselves as well to that form of, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example. The guy who repairs shoes,
well, he won't have any trouble with online sales. No,
he won't have any. I doubt there'll be any online sales, but he'll be I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe if he sells shoes as well, I guess there's probably not even any competitor in that field. Maybe that's not a good example in that case. But yeah,
maybe the brick and mortar shoe salesman that doesn't have an online store, they can lose out to online sales. Sure.
Yeah.
So it's not fair for them, but they can play the market like I have, and they can put their product online. And it does take a lot of work and time and energy to do that.
Right.
But that's one way that we've stayed in business all these years.
Sure. Well, you've adapted.
Yeah, we adapt.
Adapting is important. But fairness is important too, and I do think the fairness argument wins on this issue. But where are we at right now with movement toward actually legislating this change? Do you have any idea?
I don't. I mean, I think the vote in the Senate is today, isn't it?
You may be right. Yeah, I've. It's been a long weekend.
And then it goes to the vote's today.
Okay.
In the Senate, and it looks like they might pass it. So then it's up to the House, I guess, to decide.
Well, we shall see. It seems like it should be a no-brainer. I'm not sure. I mean, I imagine
what I would say.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, eBay has recommended that maybe instead of setting the bar at 1 million in sales, to raise it a little bit more than that. Or if you have we only have 5 employees here, so businesses that aren't big like Amazon, that it won't hurt the smaller business like me.
Right.
So,
okay.
It's a lot of work. I don't have a person that could just do this.
It's a good example. Amazon, I'm sure, is opposed to the legislation.
They're actually supporting it because they are.
Gosh,
yeah.
what do I? It's a strange world we live in.
I know. Well, see, they are moving to have a presence in every state now so that they can get the products. So in their view, then they want to be on the same level because if you have a major presence in the state, then you have to collect the state tax.
Gotcha. All right.
So I think they're pushing it.
Well, Maggie, thanks for joining us.
Okay.
I think it was an issue that I got to address when I was at in the state. I was at the state level, and that was when we originally started the ball rolling toward requiring that sales tax be paid in the home state. Mm-hmm. That was kind of the compromise measure, and I think people recognize that that's really not going far enough in the interest of fairness. So.
Right,
anyway.
right. Well, if they can figure it out to make it so it's not complicated, I guess that would be the main thing. Otherwise, it will be a real hardship for a lot of businesses. So.
Great. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for having me. I sure appreciate it, Ed.
Thank you, Maggie. Folks, I want to thank the Iowa chapter of the Sierra Club and Iowa Physicians for Social Responsibility for sponsoring the Fallon Forum. I also want to thank Gateway Market for sponsoring this segment of our show. That's where I'm probably having dinner tonight, folks. I love their suppers down there. They got breakfast, of course, as well. Lunch also. But check them out as a grocery store as well. A lot of their food is purchased from local sources. And this time of the year, you can buy bedding plants. You can buy flower plants, vegetables. This is the time of the year. Now that the last snowstorm is done, it was about 3 days ago, it's time to think about getting the ground a little drier and getting out there and planting. And again, Gateway Market has a great supply of bedding plants as well. So stick around, folks. We're going to talk with Peter Fisher when we come back. He's with the Iowa Policy Project. We're going to talk about tax proposals at the Iowa State House and who they benefit.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
The dawn of a new era begins.
Well, good morning. This is the 7th of June in the Lord's year 2010, and this is day 1 of webcast1live.com. We will begin with Max World Live with my special guest, Tom Coates. In just a minute, there's Tom. Wait, howdy. And we will be live for the very first time on Webcast One Live. Someday we're going to look back on this and say, gosh, remember that old day in history? Wonder where Walter Cronkite was. He must have been around hanging there too. But actually, it's the beginning of Webcast One Live. And thank you for listening. Thanks, Rob Spearman, and everybody who's put together this project together. And we're ready to go live now. So thanks for listening to MaxWorldLive.com.
I can't tell you that it's going real well from time to time, but it is going.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
That's Mr. Baber's Neighbors, folks, and we're back to our conversation here on the Fallon Forum with Peter Fisher joining us. Peter Fisher is with the Iowa Policy Project. He's had editorials in the paper on the subject of taxes. He's been quoted in editorials. He's been quoted in stories. He gets around a bit, and he knows this stuff. And the Policy Project has done a great job at identifying the detail that you often don't hear in the political spin. You know, and the political spin, of course, is depending on who you talk with. On the Republican side, it certainly is that we need to cut taxes across the board, and we know that in the end that will trickle down. That's the argument. I'm not buying it, but you know, again, I look at they try to present the proposal as benefiting both large and small businesses, and I'm not convinced. Peter Fisher, welcome to the show. Hello, Peter. Are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So, I'm trying to sort through the competing proposals. I mean, they're still on the table. The session's not over yet. We're looking at probably not going to end this week, is what I heard this morning. And so I mean, one of the big pieces is the competing proposals on taxation.
Right. Yeah, and they're drastically different. I mean, the core of them is that the House wants to reduce the assessment ratio for commercial property from 100% to 80%. The Senate wants to provide a state-funded credit that would target most of the relief at smaller businesses. So, so the House proposal gives basically a 22% tax break to the likes of, Walmart and John Deere and other corporations that are doing what they can to avoid paying corporate income taxes.
Is John Deere successfully avoiding paying corporate income taxes?
Well, they're a major beneficiary of the research activities credit.
Sure. As is Rockwell Collins.
As is Rockwell Collins.
I think right? Monsanto as well. I believe DuPont.
Yep.
Yeah. And so these companies would also get a 22% cut in their taxes.
When it's fully phased in, then it would start to taper off a little bit under the House proposal, and then the Senate proposal, it would be more like 1 or 2% because they're going to get the same dollar break as Joe's Corner grocery store. So percentage-wise, that doesn't add up to much for these big companies.
So even under the Senate Democratic proposal, Walmart is still going to get a tax break.
They're going to get something, yeah, but not very much. Yeah.
Okay, and so how does this tax credit work? It's a credit on income paid.
Well, they take the first. Let's just look at 1 year to keep it simpler. When it's fully phased in, it will allow a business to pay as if they were a residence, where they're only paying, you're only paying taxes on 56% of the value of your house. The business is only going to pay taxes on that same percentage up to the first about $333,000 of value. After that, you're paying just like you do now on 100% of your value. So a small business that's got less than $333,000 in value, property that they own, will pay the same tax that they would if that property were residential.
Okay, so a small business without any property is.
If you don't own any property, this is a small business in the sense of somebody who owns their own store.
Right. If you rent it, or if you don't need, if you're a mobile entity of some type, or
if you're working out of your home, if you don't have any property taxed as commercial or industrial, or if you just rent the space you need, you wouldn't get anything out of this.
It seems to me that the Senate Democratic proposal is a response to Governor Branstad's proposal. They're trying to show that they are interested in reducing property taxes, interested in helping businesses. Again, they want to shift the focus to the small businesses. But my question is any of this really needed? I mean, is this just, are they just responding because of politics? Do they really believe that this is going to make Iowa a better place in terms of small business startups?
It reminds me of the national debate over deficits. If you say over and over again that the big problem is deficits, pretty soon everybody believes it, and that's the conventional wisdom. So they've gotten a chorus going here for 6 or 8 years saying commercial property taxes are too high, to the point where it's hard to challenge that. It's just accepted in the legislature. It's accepted in the press. But, it's not the case for needing substantial cuts to commercial property taxes is pretty weak.
Okay, so again, that
was a long answer to your.
Well, no, it was a good answer though.
It's basically no.
Basically no.
The short answer.
Basically, the Senate Democrats. Again, I understand the political reasons why. Again, because as you said, the conversation keeps focusing on the high level of property taxes businesses pay, even if it isn't really borne out by data. And I think really the bottom line is you have to look not just at the property tax level, but at what businesses and individuals pay in income and sales and in other taxes as well, and what kind of breaks and credits and help they get elsewhere, whether it's TIF or in the case of the research tax credits, the companies that land those. And that's it seems like that is conveniently left out of the conversation sometimes.
Yeah, it's left out completely. I mean, I saw you just make 3 points. Let me just reiterate them. One is cities already have, if the argument is we're not competitive for commercial business investment in the state, well, first of all, our taxes are not high overall. They're average. Second, if cities want to relieve property taxes, they've got mechanisms to do that. I think it's overused, but they've got TIF already to cut, they can use to cut commercial property taxes close to zero for 10 or 20 years if they want to.
Mm-hmm. And so, my sense is they're going to continue to keep doing that. I mean, it just seems like, especially among the big players, there is an insatiable appetite for greater and greater, corporate salaries, payments back to shareholders, and hunger for public money to help do that. I mean, you've got Principal here in Des Moines now. getting help renovating its space so that it can be more 21st century. You know, you've got a bunch of money going into Facebook. By some estimates, 35 million to create 31 jobs. It just seems like the appetite is insatiable. The expectation is that this is going to happen, and this is the way it's done, and we have a right to demand public monies if we're going to expand or locate or even change the furniture in our offices. You know, it just seems like it's now an expectation.
Yeah, it is, and it's pretty hard to fight against. It seems like you know, everybody just says, "Well, we don't like it, but we got to do it because everybody else is."
Yeah,
pretty weak argument.
A very weak argument. I mean, it seems like reason and frugality. I mean, gosh, I mean, what kind of money? I mean, maybe you don't know, but if you do, the total dollar value of the Senate proposal and the governor's proposal, how much would that take out of the general fund?
Yeah, another important issue. Well, the Senate proposal, we know, it's capped at $250 million. That's how much is appropriated
per year.
No, yes, okay. Per year.
Per year, $250 million per year.
Per year out of the state budget. The House one is more like 600, or even more if you add in some other things that they've thrown in there, like an individual income tax credit. And they've also added another feature that is going to put the clamps on local government. They've added a provision making it possible to raise revenue more than by the rate of inflation. For local governments, can't raise property tax revenue, so we're cutting into their tax base and then making it more difficult for them to raise revenue.
Yeah, you know, it's unfathomable to me that we have a governor who will cut a relatively small appropriation to the Iowa food banks, and these are local projects that have a lot of volunteers. A lot of it's church oriented, all over the state. You know, $500,000 is spread pretty thin when you dole it out among all the food banks. It's a very small amount of money, and he comes out against that because he doesn't want to get involved with. He doesn't want government to be meddling with private charities, but he's okay with government meddling with private corporations to the tune, in this case, of over $600 million a year.
Yeah, and I'm sure if that sales tax TIF bill gets to his desk, he'll sign that too, which is government meddling with the local market for hotels and retail, saying, well, you know, banks don't like it, but that's okay. We're going to see that it gets financed anyway.
Well, it's we've got our work cut out for us. I don't any predictions on where this thing might settle. I mean, it looks like in the end nobody's going to do the fiscally prudent thing, you know, that you would recommend. But somewhere in between the governor's proposal and the Senate Democrat proposal, something will probably pass. Any sense of what might?
Yeah, no, I don't really have a good sense of that. I've talked to some legislators about it, and, you know, kind of everything is up in the air at this point because there's so many things that could be traded for other things. And they may end up with no agreement at all on commercial taxes, which probably be for the best.
Well, yeah, I guess that would be for the best. But do you think Governor Branstad is willing to settle for that?
Well, if he doesn't get a bill to sign, you know, what choice does he have?
Well, he'll call him back. He'll call him back into special session.
Yeah,
right?
I guess he could.
And then again, they could do nothing. So,
and he'll veto other things that, like the earned income tax credit.
Sure, just to get back at the Senate Democrats. Yeah, no doubt. Now, I mean, one argument that is made, that the governor has made, is that, well, if I had a more competitive property tax, you know, situation for the businesses in this state, I wouldn't have to give hundreds of millions, or $251 million altogether, not just from the state. That's the amount of money they're giving to Orascom, the fertilizer company. We wouldn't have to give $35 million to Facebook. We wouldn't have to give all this money to Google, to Monsanto, DuPont. We wouldn't have to do that if we had a better commercial property tax situation. I'm going to call his bluff on that. I don't think he has any intention of backing off these corporate incentives.
No, I wouldn't think so either. Yeah, you know, I mean, Rockwell gets enough of a refund from the corporate income tax. I mean, they pay zero corporate tax most years recently.
Yeah.
Then they get a check from the government, which is more than enough to cover their local property tax bill. So basically, they're...
Gosh, I'd love to get in on that scene. That would be a great arrangement, wouldn't it?
Yeah, pretty nice.
I don't know why more. I mean, maybe the reason more people aren't outraged and beating the walls of City Hall and the State Capitol building down is because this stuff is so darn complicated, and people are working harder than ever just to get by.
It is complicated, and I think that's why people, and they don't see the direct connection to what matters to them. I suppose they think you can have tax cuts without consequences, and it's not the way it works.
Well, there are places where there will be cuts, whether it's our schools or healthcare or food banks or you name it. There will be cuts somewhere to make up for it. You just don't take money from one arm and not affect what happens on the other side. So,
no, you don't. Yeah.
Peter, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay.
All right, folks. Peter Fisher with the Iowa Policy Project, a very frequent contributor to the conversation about tax policy. And it will be interesting to see what happens at the State House on this issue during the last couple weeks of the Iowa session. Okay, we're going to switch gears shortly and talk about casinos, but I do want to remind you that this is Bike to Work Month. It used to be a week. It's a month now. Well, for some of us, it's a lifelong commitment. Although I will say it's a lot harder when you got 6 inches of snow on the ground than it is in most of May. But there's a lot happening here in Des Moines. Again, all across the state, there's stuff going on. But here in Des Moines, you can actually get a passport. They put together a passport where you can get your passport stamped if you attend certain events. There's the Bike Commute Challenge. As a commuter, you can log all these miles. You can even build a team within if you work for a business where you've got a bunch of folks who want to bike, you can build a team within your department or your business. And then you compete with other companies in a friendly competition. It's a fun thing. Don't get too bent out of shape about it. But again, the Commuter Bike Challenge, worth looking at. Also, there's the Wheels and Heels event coming up tomorrow. That's at Windsor Heights Community Center. That's from 5:30 to 8 p.m. Wheels and Heels. It's an evening of bike fashion and education. And no, I will not be going wearing heels. And I don't think I'm going to try to put a pair of heels on my bike either. There's also a Bike to Art event on May 12th in downtown Des Moines. There's the Ride of Silence on, what day is that? I can't remember the day that's on May 15th. And that's to recognize the number of people or the various people locally and elsewhere who have been killed in bike accidents. Unfortunately, there's always a handful of people that get killed every year. There's also Handlebar Happy Hour at Grays Lake on the 17th. There's a pedal art event. And as I mentioned, there's the Bike Month Passport. So again, check it out. Be a part of it. You don't have to bike every single day. And you don't have to go to all these events. But it's a good way to begin to get more involved with the bike culture, which is pretty diverse here in central Iowa. And again, is growing all around the state. All right, folks. We're going to take a short break here. I do want to thank the $1 Million Marathon for helping to sponsor this program. The $1 Million Marathon is organizing an event called Coast to Coast for Cancer. It's 160 people running a relay, not a race, just running a relay across the country. 160 marathons, each one passing the baton to the next. It's a pretty cool event. I'm pretty excited about it. I wish I could do a marathon. I would think about it. We're going to have our Dr. Richard Deming on our program on Thursday. We'll talk a bit about that and about some other issues as well. But it's a great event. Check it out online. $1 Million Marathon. It's worth taking a look at. I also want to thank the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit for sponsoring this segment of our show. Last year the IES, the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit, attracted about 460 people from Central Iowa, representing 43 different countries. This year's summit is going to be November 9th at Drake University. Now, every year, about 100 companies are formed, 100 businesses, startups are formed by people who participate in the IES. So this year you've got seminars, excuse me, and they'll be answering questions like what happens when the IRS audits your business? What impact will the Affordable Care Act have on your business? How can you manage what you do in your work through your iPhone? I don't even know how to start that conversation. And what changes in the tax code might actually save you money? So, folks, check them out. And you don't have to be a new immigrant to go. Heck, My family's been here less than 100 years. I still consider myself an entrepreneur that could probably use some guidance at this event. It's going to be again November 9th, and you can register online at iesusa.org or by calling 288-3188. I'll be back in a minute with folks from Warren County who are going to weigh in on the proposed casino, and that vote is tomorrow.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
The 8th Annual Natural Living Expo is May 18th and 19th at the 4-H building at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. The Natural Living Expo is the place to learn about sustainable practices and healthy lifestyle choices. The expo offers classes and vendors where you'll learn about green building design, sustainable agriculture, urban farming, non-toxic cleaning products, massage, and more. There's no cost to attend, and what you'll come away with is priceless. For more information, visit www.naturallivingexpo.org. That's www.naturallivingexpo.org.
Community CPA is the 15th largest CPA firm in Iowa, providing audit, tax, and accounting services. Community CPA specializes in international tax treaty and double taxation avoidance among countries and states. 9 dedicated, experienced, hardworking staff are the company's foundation, and their compassion towards every client is the secret behind Community CPA's success. At Community CPA, you can expect quality service year-round. Call 288-3188. Community CPA, 3816 Ingersoll. Experience the difference.
Located in the heart of Beaverdale, Tally's offers speedy and affordable rooftop lunch, catering for events both large and small, innovative cuisine, as well as vegetarian and gluten-free menus. Come to Tally's for live music, dry-aged steaks, Sunday brunch, and all-you-can-eat ribs every Monday night. Tally's Restaurant, Bar, and Catering at 2712 Beaver Avenue. Call 279-2067. That's 279-2067.
Times are tough, and most people are just trying to make their cars last a little bit longer. That's why you should know about Sargent's Garage in Des Moines. You can trust Sargent's to make the right diagnosis and give you a fair price. Whether it's a routine oil change or a major repair, Sargent's always does outstanding work. So don't give up on that old car just yet. Call Sargent's Garage at 246-8149. That's 246-8149 for Sargent's Garage.
Nestled in the heart of downtown, Ritual Cafe is one of Des Moines' most unique places, offering a wide variety of coffee and tea. Ritual Cafe also serves the only all-vegetarian menu in town. And Ritual Cafe is a cultural hub for artists and musicians, with a performance stage hosting local, national, and international talent. Make Ritual Cafe a part of your daily ritual. On 13th Street between Locust and Grand in downtown Des Moines, and check out ritualcafe.com.
Wow, some wedding.
Yeah, I've never seen a bride in coveralls.
Right, and skipping down the aisle to accordion music.
Not to mention the reception. That wedding cake was a freaking fruit cake.
It's your wedding. Don't leave anything to chance. Diana's Wedding Cakes. Using only the finest, freshest ingredients with free on-time delivery and setup. Choose one of Diana's custom designs or create your own. Call Diana's Wedding Cakes, 641-275-9279. That's 641-275-9279.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Welcome back, folks. That's Max Wellman, and this segment of our show is brought to you by Tinker Heating and Cooling. I want to thank all the small businesses, about 12 or 15 of you locally here that help make this show possible. If you want to be a business supporter of the show, you can go to my website and figure out how to do that, sponsors, or you can just send me an email at fallonforum@gmail.com. I will say that I only accept business clients that are doing that are operating ethically, that are locally owned, and that care about the issues. You do not have to agree with me. You do not have to agree with me on everything. Not even close. I've had people who are on the other side of the issue on many cases, but you have to be local and you have to be a good person concerned about our community. All right, speaking of our community, gosh, I have been a longtime opponent of expanding gambling, and there's lots of reasons why, but it just seems to keep popping up. And now we've got one threatening to pop up just south of Des Moines here in Warren County, actually near Norwalk. And I've got a few people who've called in to be a part of this conversation, so we're going to try to move quickly through the phone calls, and I want to thank everybody who has taken the time to visit with us, starting with Tom Coates. Tom, welcome to the show.
Well, speaking about somebody that oftentimes disagrees with you, except here we've got a point of common interest, don't we, Ed?
I'm not even sure I'd say often. I'd say most of the time, Tom. Come on. You don't want to taint your record too bad.
But this is how many years ago did we start agreeing on this particular issue, though? It was a long
1993.
Time. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, we're still fighting it. So, I mean, it looks to me like the money that has been spent in this campaign is really heavy on the folks who want the casino. How is that going to affect the vote?
Well, did you look at the report, Ed? I mean, it was dramatic. We're told by the casino minions that this is a popular movement. Well, then why did not one citizen contribute $1 to the cause? Right. All 260,000 came from Wild Rose Casino. Now, on our side, we've got dozens and dozens and dozens of individuals, citizens, small businesses that have kicked in to amass a total of $15,000.
Right.
This is really a financial David and Goliath, and. And I think that ought to tell the people what's happening here. The average guy and gal that are in our communities in Warren County do not want this thing put in the middle of them.
Yeah.
And, somebody said something about the free market. So this is not the free market. Ed, you know this. This is a government-sponsored, predatory business that is highly addictive, and they pray 40 to 50% of their dollars come from the people that they've addicted.
Now, how is it a government-sponsored business?
Well, because when they first started, and now we've got the Racing and Gaming Commission. Well, the next hurdle is racing and gaming. Well, it used to be, Ed, you remember when it was first started, it was a regulatory body. They said things like, get rid of the credit card machines. No, Prairie Meadows, you can't put more slot machines in. Your only purpose put slots in was pay off your bonds. They're paid off. No more slots. And those kind of things was the duty of a regulatory body trying to protect the public. No, their mission in more recent years has been what's in the best interest of the casino. It is sponsored. It's advertised. It is you try to do anything. They tried to let the banned gamblers unban themselves this year, Ed. Yeah. It was unbelievable.
Right, I remember that. Now, Governor Branstad, of course, the governor appoints the members of the Racing and Gaming Commission. So has Governor Branstad, who again years ago was against even the lottery, I believe, has he become part of the problem?
Well, he said at his exit after 16 years, his biggest regret of being the governor for those 16 years was allowing casino gambling to come into the state of Iowa. He very much has resented the safeguards that he tried to install when they first put it in systematically, just like, say, the most recent one, they tried to allow a banned gambler to unban themselves after 5 years. He resents that. He wished he could roll the clock back. He did veto that piece of legislation. So I don't think so. He thinks he's putting, and he is putting some good people back on the Race and Gaming Commission, but the whole thing, we're inculcated, we're behind enemy lines. One person put it years ago. We're behind enemy lines, and their lobbyists, their legislators, it's not just Republican or Democrat in this case, Ed. It's a money issue and it's a corruption issue, and we all ought to, I think it's to Iowa's lasting shame that we engineered the convenience model of gambling for this country.
And we certainly have made it convenient. So, I mean, one more quick question, Tom. Again, you've been involved with a lot of gambling debates. I want to get some input from some of the other folks who are on the line, but one thing you can add some perspective on. You've been involved with a lot of gambling debates. This one hits really close to home because you live in Warren County.
No, there's no question. In fact, if you draw a plumb line between my office here at Consumer Credit and where I live in Norwalk, you come very close to where they propose putting this casino. So, it really wakes me up when they try to put it right in my backyard.
Yeah. Well, Tom, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope the outcome tomorrow is the way you and I would both agree it should go.
Well, I'm praying that it does. Thank you for having me on here, Ed.
Thank you. Let's go to a Norwalk resident who, again, Norwalk is where they want to site this this casino. Steve Kapp is with us on line 2. Steve, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So tell me your objections to the casino. What are they based on? What are the reasons you don't like this proposal?
Well, my family moved here a few years ago from Detroit, which is a city that's been haunted by the ill effects of casinos. And, they say Norwalk is no Detroit, and, which is true because Norwalk actually has a winning football team.
Nice. Touche.
It's not Detroit. It's not Atlantic City. It's not even Altoona. Every city has its own. Every city is its own. It has its own character. And, there's statistics that you can read all day long about crime use or drug use is going to go up or down or left or right. But this, to me, I know all the families here, and it's not about statistics to us. It's just really an issue about character. When we first moved here, we went to one of the city meetings where they announced Norwalk's new slogan, which was noticeably Norwalk. And they described Norwalk as a town with, great schools and families and bike paths and scouting programs and churches and soccer fields.
So if this passes, you can change the slogan to gambling on Norwalk.
Yeah, I mean, I just think of kids on a school bus from like a rival high school, and they're driving to come play Norwalk and soccer, and they'll say, "Oh, there's the casino. We're getting close to Norwalk." Yeah. I mean, when we moved here, I remember a realtor driving us to the elementary school that would potentially be where our kids would attend. Mm-hmm. And I just going there and walking out on the playground, and you can see where the casino would be from the playground. I would just say, let's get back in the car. We're not interested in living here.
Now, what's the within Norwalk? What's the breakdown in terms of folks who support and oppose the casino? Any idea?
I don't have polling information, but I'm a dad in this county, in this community, and I know a small handful of people that have like these say yes, signs in their yards, but it's everyone I talk to is saying no. And the people that have to say yes, like trying to, engage with them and talk to them, and their sign says the sign says say yes for our schools, but the school board here itself has said we're not interested in this. And, it's like.
How are they connecting it? Is some of the revenue supposed to go to schools? Is that how they're making that argument?
Yeah, a very small percentage of it, they say it will. And I remember asking one of the city councilmen, well, how do we, can we up that percentage if this goes through? And, it's just, who would you rather trust on who knows what's best for your kids, your school board or a company that's building casinos?
Yeah, and where would the company be headquartered?
It's literally, if you go to Lakewood Elementary School and you stand on the playground and you look north, it's just across the water, right?
Right there,
what the kids will be watching. They could have school at night and they would be well lit.
So it seemed to me that it's your town, and it sounds like maybe this is conservative. Maybe 70-80% of the town are probably opposed to it.
I would say more.
More than that even. Okay, say 80 to 90% of the people in Norwalk oppose this. Why isn't that enough to kill it?
Well, that's the thing. See, they tried this in Ankeny and they tried this in Urbandale and they got shot down. So they realized that you can't go at one town and get permission to do this. So now what they're doing is they're trying to get all of Warren County to approve the gambling. And so now all these other towns that are in the county are actually can vote. So it's really tough. We have to get all of our neighboring towns to say, look, help us out. We're small. We're just Norwalk. It's like the smallest, little, nicest town, and we're growing at our own pace. It's just now it has all these other people that say, hey, if you let us build this casino in this little town over here, not in yours, you can get some money from it.
Oh, so the money that the casino generates, the paltry sum they give back to the community based on what people lose there. Some of that will be pumped into schools in Indianola, for example, or
exactly. Indianola is the largest populated town in our county, and it's like, so we really have to get the word out to the people in Indianola that, help us out. That's a big part of why we moved to Iowa is because neighbors look out for each other and they help each other out.
And for the winning football team.
Of course, yes. Yeah. Barnstormers, is that it? The Barnstormers?
Well, we'll stop there, okay? Steve, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. And really, again, I do hope the vote goes the way you'd like it to tomorrow. By the way, folks, I have invited people on the other side. I spoke with Doug Scholl, a county supervisor and former legislator, on this, and I got my opinions, obviously, but that shouldn't stop people with a differing opinion to come on the show and talk with me. Defend why you want something. I'm fair. I'm balanced, unlike Fox News. Let's have one more guest join us, Molly Spain. Molly, welcome to the program.
Hello.
Now, I believe you live in rural Warren County, correct?
I do.
What is your perspective as a rural resident on this proposal?
Well, we have a 100-acre organic farm just about 5 miles south of Norwalk, and our family has been Warren County residents for generations. And I think I think even though we're rural, it still very much affects all of us. I think it's important to kind of zoom out, see what it's going to do for the whole county, and also see what it's going to do to not only the money that's proposing to come into the county, but there's a lot of other money going outside of the county as well. Another thing that I guess one thing that really kind of got me very much involved is right off the bat, I said, okay, 600 jobs into Warren County. I said, well, how can you guarantee that? You can't really. And they said,
they said 600 jobs?
600 new jobs to Warren County.
Are those construction jobs or blackjack jobs, or what are we talking about?
Yeah, I started asking all those questions. And what it comes down to is they say 450 full-time jobs, 150 part-time jobs, and then construction and development, architectural jobs on top of that. Now, if you start to think about it and start to break it down, the proposed site borders Polk County, and it's right off Highway 5.
Yep.
And so, well, just a real basic off-the-top question would be, how can you guarantee 600 jobs to Warren County residents?
I would guess that 80% of those jobs are going to come from Polk County.
That's exactly what I estimated as well when I kind of started breaking it down and doing the math. But, if you look on the Vote Yes site, the video they have playing there, that I'd say, okay, who produced that video? I doubt a Warren County residents produced the video. They keep saying they're bringing jobs into Warren County, and it's just simply not true. And yet they've plastered that everywhere. And anybody who doesn't have the time to stop, think, and start to ask questions is going to buy that. Yeah. And so when I asked them, I said, well, you can't guarantee 600 jobs to Warren County residents. They said, well, we're not the social police. We can offer the jobs, but it's up to them to, show up.
Yeah. Well,
but I said, but you're misleading people by, constantly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the slogan about schools is misleading as well. I'm actually surprised, though, that there isn't more money. I'm surprised that Polk County people, the folks that support Prairie Meadows, I'm surprised the County Board of Supervisors here in Polk County didn't send a big check to the no casino vote. I mean, I'm not saying I like that, but I'm surprised they don't, because this is going to impact Prairie Meadows as well.
Well, I talked to Gary Palmer at Prairie Meadows, and I asked him that because there was an article in the Des Moines Register stating something along the lines that he wasn't, they weren't too concerned. Usually they will do kind of a anti-campaign against it because they've done that in the past, but he said he wasn't that concerned, that he thinks the Gaming Commission is going to vote it down, even if the county does vote yes, because of the economy of casinos. There's one 20 minutes to the right. If you take the Norwalk exit, if you leave Norwalk, there's one practically 20 minutes either direction, whatever you want to go. Why would they put yet another one right there? It just kind of doesn't do anything for the racing and gaming.
Well, the bottom line is it's something that folks in the area don't want. And I never like to see government or private business, or oftentimes those two working together, come in and force something down someone's throat. And it feels like that's what's happening in this case.
Absolutely. And, I talked to the people up in Emmitsburg because the other thing is they're using Prairie Meadows and Emmitsburg, for example, which is a Wild Rose resort, as comparables. Well, I talked to some people up in Emmitsburg and the city advisor. I said, what's your number one reason for bringing this casino into Emmitsburg? And he kind of laughed a little bit, and he said, we were culturally deprived. We didn't have anything up here. And then I asked...
That's funny, actually. I've been to I saw a fantastic theater performance in Emmitsburg once, so I would disagree with that, but yeah.
Well, right. So anyway, he kind of chuckled himself, and I think... But I asked him twice. I asked him at the beginning of our conversation, and then at the end, I asked him to reiterate it. And he said, we just needed it. We were desperate. Yeah. And Norwalk is not desperate. Our schools are not desperate. Everybody could use more. Right. That seems to be our mentality, is more and more and more. Well, Molly, and I think that's part of the problem, too. But just one more thing about the Prairie Meadows is that the comparisons to Prairie Meadows is off, too, because they're not a private-owned business.
Right. That's right. Yeah, they're one of the few that still remain owned by the people of Iowa, the only one, in fact. Molly, thank you so much for joining us. Molly Spain, folks. an organic farmer near Norwalk, near the site of the proposed casino. And again, I really hope it goes well tomorrow.
Thank you. We do too.
And folks, if you're in Warren County, be sure to vote. Well, and even if you're going to vote the wrong way, yeah, do that. I mean, it's better to vote and disagree with me than not to vote at all. But again, I do think there are very compelling reasons why this casino should be shut down. I want to thank Leonard Tinker Heating and Cooling for sponsoring this segment of our show. Tinker has been doing this work on furnaces and air conditioning units for a long time, 32 years. Give him a shout at 371-2114, 371-2114. I want to thank the Natural Living Expo and encourage folks to think about going to the Natural Living Expo on May 18th and 19th at the 4-H building on the Iowa State Fairgrounds. You'll see a tremendous display of folks working on sustainable issues across the spectrum: food, healthcare, lifestyle stuff, green building stuff. You name it, you'll see it there at the Natural Living Expo. You can find out more information online by Googling Natural Living Expo. I want to thank Maddie Arrington, my producer, and I want to thank Webcast One Live for providing the studio for the show. I'll be back tomorrow.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershot.
I am administrative manager.
I am the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me. But is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did is perfect. It's great.
Keep going, though. I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
Enough said.